Okay, welcome to Mod 4 Lesson 8. Your application problem for today says, Sasha organizes the art gallery in her town's community center. This month she has 24 new pieces to add to the gallery. Of the new pieces, 1/6 of them are photographs and 2/3 of them are paintings. How many more paintings are there than photos? So work this out in your notes. Be ready to share that when you come in tomorrow. And remember, in the think portion of your assignment, go ahead and put your answer in a full sentence. Okay. Now the standard we're working with is still MAFS 5 NF 2.4a. And you've probably been wondering, because it says multiplication, how we're going to multiply a fraction by a whole number. And we haven't been really doing that, have we? We've been using more division. Well, today you're going to see, like the standard says, and how to interpret that A/B times Q is the same as A times Q divided by B. Okay, so we're going to see how that relates, and we're going to see how we can use both of them. Okay, so copy this information into your notes. Lesson objective. Once again, this is a level 2 difficulty. I will be able to relate fraction of a set to repeated addition interpretation of fraction multiplication. How can I relate repeated addition of a fraction to a set to interpretation of fraction multiplication? So today we're actually going to get into multiplication of fractions and whole numbers. Okay. Now last time lesson, if we had this, we would have taken a tape diagram, and we know the total was 6. And we'd have split it up into thirds because it says 2/3. And with this, we know 6 divided by 3 equals 6/3, which 3 goes into 6 2 times. So we know each one of these thirds would have been worth 2. Now the question says 2/3 of 6. So when we do this, we can see that 2/3 would have been equal to 4. So our answer would have been 4. Now that's using the model. If you notice, we divided to do that. Okay. Now, let's see how this relates to multiplication. Here I have 2/3, and anytime you see something that says of, like 2/3 of 6, they're meaning multiplication. Now, if I take 2/3 and I'm going to multiply that by 6, but if I change 6 into fraction, it would be 6/1. So that really becomes 2 times 6/3, because I multiplied 2 times 6 and 3 times 1 is 3. Now that equals 12/3, which is equal to 4. So as you can see, we ended up with the same answer, but instead of dividing, we actually multiplied the fraction out. Okay. All right, and let's see if this is reasonable. Now 2/3 is less than 1. So if I know if I multiplied 6 by 1, I would get 6. But I multiplied by something less than 1. So I know my answer should be less than 6. My answer is 4. It's reasonable. All right, let's try to apply this new way to this problem. We've noticed instead of saying 3/5 of 10, now I just say 3/5 times 10. So with 3/5 times 10, I'm basically taking 3/5 times 10, and I like to rewrite them to 3 times 10 over 5, which this is going to give me 30/5, and 30 divided by 5 gives me 6. So according to this, our answer would be 6. Now let's try to reason this again. See, 3/5 is less than 1 whole. So that means when I multiply it by 10, that means it's going to be less than 10. Okay, and we got our answer was 6, so it is less than 10, so it's reasonable. Okay. Let's try this next one. Oh, we got a fraction greater than 1 this time. Let's see if this changes what we do. Okay. Now I got 7, 6 times 24. So I'm going to end up with 7 times 24 over 6. Wow, I'm going to get a big number on this one. Let's try it. Now I got 24, and I got to multiply it by 7. So 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 2 is 14, and 2 is 16. So I ended up with 168 6. Wow. Now I've got to use a standard algorithm, 168, and we're going to divide it by 6. I know I can put 2 of them in there, because that'd be 12, and I end up with 48. And I know 6 times 8 is 48. So now I know 7, 6 times 24 is 28. Well, wait a minute. My answer is larger than what I multiplied it by. But if you look, 7, 6, that's greater than 1. So my answer should have been greater than 24. All right. Now if you notice how large we had to use this number with, I'm going to show you something now that we can do to help ourselves out. Here we have 7 times 24 over 6 when we multiplied it out. Now remember when we're doing tens and I said if you multiply and divide you could just cross the zeros out because you're actually multiplying and dividing by 10? Wouldn't that work if we multiplied and divide by any number? Okay. So in other words, if I took up here, let's say I had 2 and I multiplied it by 3, I'd get 6. When I divide it by 2, I get 3. Oh. So I end up with the same number I started with. So let's look down below here. So in that, if I was to decode this would actually be 7 times, if I decoded 24, that would actually be 4 times 6. And I've got a 6 underneath. Oh, look at there. I'm multiplying and dividing by 6. So if I take both of them out, I end up with 7 times 4, which equals 28. Wow. Look at that. Same answer. And I didn't have to deal with a large number like this. We're going to have to try that again. Okay, so first off, let's just rewrite our problem. We know we got 7, 6 times 30, which is actually equal to 7 times 30 over 6. Now I know 30 is a multiple of 6 because 7 times 5 times 6 would be 30, and I've got 6 on bottom. Now when I take the common factors on top and bottom out, we get 35. Now once again, using our reasonableness, I multiplied 30 by something greater than 1. So my answer should be greater than 30, and it is 35. Okay. Now in problem 4, it says 2/3 of an hour equals so many minutes. Well, so I'm going to change this because I know 2/3 an hour is actually equal to 60 minutes. So I'm going to multiply it by 60 minutes to get my answer, because I want to know what 2/3 of 60 minutes is. So this actually comes out as 2 times 60 over 3. Now we're going to decode, because I know 60 is a multiple of 3. So I'm going to go 2 times, and I know it's 20 times 3 equals 60 over 3. So I'm going to take out my common factors, and I can see my answer is 40 minutes. Pretty neat, huh? All right. So remember, when it has something such as 1/3 of, let's say, 8, you're actually just saying 1/3 times 8, which would be equal to, in this case, 8/3. And then it's standard fraction at that point, so 3 would go into 8 2 times, and there'd be 2/3 left over. So multiplication and division both could be used to solve this problem. Because if you go back to the other way, here's our tape diagram, and we know the total is 8. We're splitting it into thirds, so that means each one would be 8/3. All right, well, I hope you understand this. If you need more practice, feel free to click on that link up there and in the Dig Deeper, and you can watch actually the problems that be worked on by the guy from Eureka. All right, have a good day.